Oh, sorry. Is this thing on? You just caught me polishing my No Retreat Legends trophy when I beat some other legends with my new the Kasha, my wife, she designed the t-shirt thing. How cool is that? But she got me it in white. This is not going to look white between you and me. You come remind me that I had this conversation at some point in the near future when this t-shirt is no longer white, and then we can put a bookmark in how long I managed to keep a t-shirt white for, because I don't have any white t-shirts. I have some white shirts for when I go on holiday, you know, in the sun and stuff. But yeah, that's the, I think someone asked for 1 minute, I could put it on the thing, can't I? Does my big head block that? Hi guys. Did everyone catch that, by the way? The pimp that shit, baby. Pimp that shit. Is the mic okay? Hello, hands in the air. Is the mic okay? Does this need to go louder? I can come down like this and get closer, but then half of, you know, I'm right in the middle of the thing like a target, and it's a bit... Fabius Bile, thank you for being a member so long. Who won the raffle match at the DZ TV day? I don't know, Fabius Bile, because there were so many winners. We did a raffle on the Saturday and gave away the big Heresy box for someone. That's like 2,500 points worth of stuff. Aeronautica box, a huge box of terrain, another box of something new. And then on the Sunday, boxes, as well as like an £80 voucher to spend at Element rather than buy them a combat patrol, but box and give it away as a raffle. They just got the voucher and they can go and spend it. And then on the Sunday as well, our German friend, Tomato of Doom, Tomato, who flew all the way, sounds all good, thank you, who flew all the way from Germany to be at the DZ Day weekend, along with the Americans, the South Africans, and the Netherlands, the Dutch. He got to win me in a raffle, so booby prize there. And he won. He won by 5 points with the last play of the game. It was a good game. Necrons on Necrons. So the audio is good. Great. Thank you for joining me on my live stream. While I'm pimping stuff, the bell tolls, my campaign with Monkey. But the latest one I'm doing is up to part 4. And if you become a channel member... At tier 3, you get access to tier 2, tier 3. You get access to all of the Bell Tolls campaign. There's one more to go. And you also get access to the Silver Cage campaign, which is already up there. And you'll get a video every Sunday. At the moment on Freeview, there's one every other Sunday. If you become a channel member, then you'll get one every Sunday. Because in the Sunday slot, there'll always be one up. And you get to join my private little community. Or you can also join me in the deployment zone with Liam and many other wonderful people where we built another community too. Aaron, thank you for being a member for so long. Any thoughts on what legion I should ally my loyalist Iron Warriors? It depends whether you mean 30k or 40k. In 40k, you can bring 25% of demons along, and I can't see any reason why Chaos Undivided Iron Warriors wouldn't unleash some demons if they had that weapon in their arsenal in the field of 40k, unless you're really anti-demon. Then you're probably best to ally with another Chaos Space Marine force. Otherwise, if you're thinking 30k Iron Warriors, then basically anyone you want. They hold the line really well, so that 30k probably World Eaters would help them, give them that forward push. So anyway, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Hi, all good. Magnus did wear a thong. Hi, Painting Templar's Army, Painter's Buthy. Good evening, Sir Winters. 30k. Aaron, you meant in 30k. If you've got some armor in the backfield. Oh, what would work really well for you if you want to go full narrative, cause your Iron Warriors, is bring a Tagmata with you. Bring some Mechanicum with you. Ally them in. And bring some cybernetic punch with you, some Castellax that count as line troops, and probably some Thalax, maybe a nice big Thanator in the backfield. Just, well, the Thanator doesn't have to stay there, it can walk forward with its Helix Plasma Mortar, so I would, if it was me, because I like AdMech so much, I would ally up with the AdMech, and it works perfectly with Iron Warriors. Otherwise, chalk and cheese, you know. In the Heresy, they were doing a lot of the shelling, the Iron Warriors and the Emperor's Children, Sons of Horus, but World Eaters were. That was probably tactically the better thing to do, is to match them with World Eaters. But as it's 30k, follow your muse. Excuse me. Aha. I'm putting this up again. Okay, so this week I thought I'd do something different. Ask you what you wanted to talk about. Hope you're all good. James Evans. Some stuff he said, too many things I can't read. So I thought I'd talk to you for a change, because normally I come along with some ideas about what I want to talk about, and I ramble on, and then you ramble on in the backwards. Winters Get Your Ass, one of those Liam streams. Well, I rarely come on there, wee man. I've got many other things to do. And thank you, Mr. Sven Holio, for becoming a tier 2 member. I think that unlocks my Discord. Oh yeah, you can watch all the other stuff on DZTV, but that's my, thank you. Yeah, so normally I come along with, see, this doesn't work for me. This relationship that we have, chat, this doesn't work for me. I feel like a lot of people are watching you. That's what it feels like up my end. And I don't know how it feels up your end, watching this, the 113 people who are watching this. I bet your end is much more comfortable than my end, because this is not, unless you're someone who really likes to be watched by 100 people, it doesn't feel that natural to me. So I was coming up with topics. Like last time we banged on about rules, and the time before I banged on about, I don't know, something else. My hobby journey, I think. I think we need to change this relationship that you and I have. We need to talk more. This needs to be more of a conversation. So from up my end, I'm not having a conversation with one person, I'm having a conversation with 115 people. So I'll treat you as one thing. Chat. I see why other streamers that I've been watching for a while now just chat. Cool, you chat. Yes. So how's your end? Is your end okay? I have done some things. Like this week I did finish. This is one of the reasons for getting a Necron army. I mean, the Tesseract Vault. Glorious base there by marchofwar.co.uk, like all my Necron bases. Look at that. That's one of the reasons why I collect 40k. Not even play the game, just that. People buy models. I see models of things, and people in the living rooms of people's houses who are geeks, they have toys and things that they never touch. They buy made, and it sits there, and it's a action figure type thing. People like just models. I like this model. Look at it. And I painted that, so there's going to be no other models exactly like that, particularly with that base. So I smashed that one out, and started on these fellas. I'm waiting for James. If you come in, or if someone sees marchofwar.co.uk come into the chat at some point tonight, can you tap him on the shoulder and tell him I'm waiting for my bases? Because I'll have these done tomorrow, and then 3 of them are done. Then I've got 2 Doomsday barges, 2 of the flyers, 8 bikes to do, 2 stalkers to do, 10 immortals to do, and then I think that's it for the Necrons for a while. The second king hopefully will be coming from Den of Imagination Painting Studios, and I did finally manage to render that video today that I made for them while I was out there in Poland. Inquisitive X, I hear you. What's going on? What? Winter? Yeah, I hear you. Good evening. Oh, good evening, mother lovers. All right, you're here. Yeah, so yes, I went out to Den of Imagination. If you want to see pictures of that, I don't know if I put any up, but you know, winters.seo on Instagram. Also, when I went to Canada to the mini wargaming tour, I must have put 500, 200 stories on Winters SEO on Instagram. I use that to vlog when I'm away somewhere, usually, sometimes, when I remember. So I did that. We need to change this relation. Let's chat. So, man, you should get an LED installed in the middle, make that Satan glow. It's finished. You want me? Who said that? Wee man. I'm not going to drill through that. On the table under the studio lights, I'll have you know that the OSL really rather pops. It really rather pops anyway. I think I've screwed the lights up. So I think we're good. I want nice, saving one monolith for next vacation, says BC. I've got one monolith so far, so the plan is to get two. Because imagine the Tesseract Vault with two monoliths either side. That's 1,000 points right there, by the way. The Tesseract Vault is 400 points, 30 wound, 4 up and vulnerable save thing. It's only toughness 7, but it's a 30 wound, 4 up and vulnerable save thing that shoots out mortal wounds with two monoliths either side. That's 1,000 points. 1,040 points with the death rays, to be precise. Sprinkle in some HQs. And then just 80 troops. That's a list I really want to play. Just the endless march of troops coming up. 20 blobs, 20 blobs, 20 blobs, 20 blobs. And the monoliths and the Tesseract Vaults spitting out these mortal wounds. That's a list. And then at 3,000 points, you can sprinkle in some destroyers as well and make it even juicier. Imagine the destroyers spilling forward as well. Niall Walsh, thank you. You are the first donation of the evening. Love you. Without that, thank you for helping pay my mortgage. Cost of living these days, those energy bills. So thank you. Love to chat about how rules should be in 40k. Should 10th Ed have more things like Cabal points and Miracle dice? No. I think what 10th should have is less of everything. If 10th Ed cut all the rules in half, I argue it would still be just as tactical. I want to see the core rules like character, blast, vehicle, objective secured, any rule that has a rule which isn't on the datasheet, I want it to be fixed and written on the datasheet and also in the main rulebook. There's a pool that they can draw off. I want there to be less debuffs in 10th edition, stuff that turns off your stuff or stuff that makes you slower. Those are feel bad stuff that makes you better or your opponent get better. If that's how the mechanic works, then that's a better way of doing it. And anything like Cabal points or Miracle dice that you spend, some kind of currency, I don't think you need that to make it a very tactical game. I don't. Alan Godfrey, the Bell Tolls is a great campaign and well worth getting memberships. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate your donation, and it is well worth getting a membership for. 4 parts up there on the Bell Tolls. The 5th one is coming next week. It's a full-on story. And my Death Guard, the end of all things, going up against Monkey Space Wolves. I very enjoyed playing that one. And Painter's Boothy, have a Fredo on me. A Fredo? My mind's gone blank on that. And then Inquisitor Vex is doing some things is there. Member, no, Croissant, do you have a Croissant mobile yet? Winter Sanguinary Guard. No idea. Damn, 50 minutes. Okay, so we get Adam Welsh at the bottom. Votann plans. Leagues of Votann plans. I plan to... It's a hard one, isn't it? Because no one will have an army as soon as it comes out. So the most we can do as soon as it comes out is probably do a live stream about it. And probably do a video codex review about it. Now, there's loads of stuff already leaked online, and loads of people do the codex review stuff. I don't know if any of you have seen my codex reviews, but I also like to give impressions as well, not just review it, not just here's a 2-hour video on everything through it. I'll talk about where I think the strengths are and where I think the weaknesses are and what kind of list sings to me, or what kind of stratagems or war gear sing to me, or even the narrative for them. And I try to highlight those bits as I go. More of a summary rather than a review. Where are we? Will Cadians have a noble character soon, or are they destined to be a rogue dynasty? Will Cadians have a nodal... Well, Cadians... So they refreshed the Space Marine range, right? We've now got the 2nd generation of Space Marines, and basically everything that Space Marines could do before, the 2nd generation can now do, and has equivalent units of minus Terminators or Jump, Primaris, Assault Guy. There's a few units left that the Firstborn are unique with, including drop pods. The second company, the second born, are going to get, the Primaris are going to get all of those over time, and that's going to be the new Space Marine armies in 2, 3, 4 years' time. Everyone will be playing with them. The older stuff will look unique, and you'll have some vintage players playing them, but let's face it, the new model range and the new tanks, they're hoping that Blade Guard veterans and the skimmers and the land speeder things, whatever they're called, they're hoping that these look so much cooler. They'll have planes as well, that you'll want to get them. And so the way it's going is Cadia is blown up. Spoiler. The Cadian gateway has collapsed almost, and the satellite, the part of the Cadian sector, the edges of the Cadian sector are holding on in the backwards bastions, and the Necron dynasty has arisen when Cadia collapsed and all that Blackstone was destroyed. This Necron dynasty woke up right in the Vigilus Gap, while our Great Rift. So Cadia is on its way out, and I think Krieg is coming in. I can see Krieg coming, maybe not with this edition, but I think it's been so long, there's bound to be new models in this Guard book. And they'll use that as a testing bed to see how interested Guard players are, because I imagine that the next one is probably already written and it will feature Krieg. Or what they should really do, I mean, you've seen the Krieg box set, right? So everyone loves Krieg. Krieg is so popular that Forge World grew off a bit. One of the reasons why Forge World grew. And there's so many armies. Krieg is really popular. So they can push Krieg really hard in new Krieg vehicles and make them the powerhouse. What they should do is have 3 or 4 and put the Valhallans in there and put the Steel Legion in there. They should put sprues and upgrade stuff for, just like they did with the Catachans and Cadians, and they should have a couple. So Sam Nash, thank you for gifting members this evening. Again, you legend, 5 memberships. Say, everyone who got a membership, say thank you to Sam. What happens is it doesn't look as though we've got, how many were actually received? 1, 2, 3, 4 received. 5 were received. Right, yeah, because if you haven't typed in that you can accept gifts or something about gifts, you need to put in the comments when it scrolls. Like, gifts are okay. And then you can receive gifted. Where were we? What about Traitor Guard faction? Well, I think it's an inevitability. As back to my totally massive 40k prediction. That will come. It's just a matter of time. And we're getting Votann. We're getting the squats back. We'll get Traitor Guard. They're coming. It's just when, at what time scale. Because if they brought out Traitor Guard, they would sell a lot. Just like if they brought out Bad Mech, they would sell a lot. What they could do to dip their toe in the water is to bring out... it could be Chaos Allies, or like Leagues of Votann, give them a trademarkable name, such as the Forge of... You've got Leagues of Votann, so you've got the Forge of Badasses. And the Forge of Badasses is a league of Traitor Guard and Bad Mech. And then you roll that codex into one and it mitigates the risk between both. And you've got 2 or 3 really cool Bad Mech vehicles with some Bad Mech troop options, which can overlap with some really cool Traitor Guard stuff. And you know what I mean? So it's like a Forge has woken up and swallowed in some... They could do it that way and see what sells more. That might be a transition period, but I think it's just a matter of time before we see Traitor Guard. I want to say it's going to be 10 years. Finger in the air, plus or minus a couple of years. Where are we? Yes, we should be able to soup in Traitor Guard just like Demons, yeah. So they bring Traitor Guard along. I mean, Votann, I can see them souping with Tau and Eldar, if the lore is to be believed. If they're like the old squats, they would be as much mercenaries. Maybe not mercenaries, but... they're not that bad. The Imperium just wants to murder, murder, death, kill, maim, kill, burn. But the Leagues and the Tower are open for chatting to each other, I assume. Where are we? So, wow, great time to take a break at work. First time live, long time listener. I love you and all you do for us in this space. Cheers from Las Vegas. You're in Las Vegas, Votann. All the way from Las Vegas. I don't know, I'm just here. I'm just a girl talking to a boy, asking him to love him. Her. What are you doing in Vegas, Votann? What's your break? Are you working in a McDonald's? Did you get free burgers? I worked in a McDonald's for a long time. Good few years. I worked in a couple of McDonald's. Uni and after uni and things. Our Tau Empire allies are Demiurge, which is apparently a faction of the Votann. Is it? We'll see, I guess. Hello from Texas. Look, we've got Vegas, we've got Texas in the house. Des Croissant, aka Doomside. Is that the croissant thing you guys were talking about earlier? I get it now. Yeah, I was going to make 2 of the Doomsides, 2 of the ones with guns. Guns or transport in a flyer? Guns. I like guns. And Necrons, they just swarm, right? If you want to... Do they need transport? I don't think so. Bad Mech is such a good name idea as a whole in Inquisitive Effects. Of course it is. Lots of people do conversions on Bad Mech. Just check out Monkey's Hobby Apocalypse Army thing that he did. I mean, a bunch of us did see it. And on the... it's on the channel, the video, his Bad Mech with all the... It's wonderful stuff. If Games Workshop could sell that, would sell that, they'd sell it. They're probably put off by the fact that AdMech doesn't... It's not a massive mover compared to... Space Marines and Knights, but nothing is comparable to Space Marines and Knights. So, and they used to sell a lot of Knights. I wonder if they sell as many now. I know they sell a lot of Tau for some reason. Yeah, but they would sell more Bad Mech than they would AdMech, because AdMech players would get all the Bad Mech, or most of them, and then a chunk of Chaos players would definitely get Bad Mech. And if they put Traitor Guard in there, then some Guard players might get Bad Mech as well as the new people who are interested in the new faction, and it's Bad Mech and Traitor Guard. That would sell more than Leagues of Votann. It would sell twice as much. Hopefully someone from Games Workshop is listening to this stream, listen to the voice of the community, because I, right now, represent this community of 166 voices. Put 3 zeros on that. And that represents our power, chat. That's our power. That's the voice of 164 concurrent viewers right now. 1,000 voices saying, bring us Bad Mech and Traitor Guard, please. I love AdMech. I love the lore. I love the 30k AdMech as well. I love AdMech. And a Bad Mech force would be right up my alley. Boy, I could tell you. We've got Iowa in the house. Logan's in the house as well. So we've got Iowa, Texas, Las Vegas. Oh, Las Vegas. Peter Bothy's talking about the Harud. Yeah, I definitely think the Harud should turn up as well. Sanguinary Guard has a bad memory of 3 Doom Scythe gun boats, don't we all? Back in 6th edition, 7th edition, when they were just drawing the lines and you were picking up stuff. Good evening, brothers. Big love from Nottingham. Not as exciting as Texas, but Nottingham is still very exotic in my eyes. Where are we? Thoughts on the Votann models, says Zach Cook. I'd want Bad Mech first. Yes, I would want Bad Mech first. And thoughts on the Votann models? They had me at the bikes, and I like the trucks. The bikes and the trucks, but the guys with the berserkers, the fellas with the big axes, and then they've got those devastators. It was their opportunity to do something different. It feels very safe. The bikes look cool, the trucks look cool, and then they've got berserkers, and then they've got devastators. Why do they have to... why has another army got berserkers with big axes? Why has another army got devastators? Why not change up what fills those slots up? Why not have, instead of berserkers, unit of 10 charging forward, 3 chonky lads charging forward at 70 points each, so it's 210 of it going forward, but you have another 210 of it going forward, and it's toughness 6 with 6 wounds, but it moves and it's AI. Why not in the Devastator slot, instead of having Devastators with guns, they use AI? Why not have turrets on tracks? A bit like the Thunderfire cannon, just speaking off the top of my head here. Imagine the Thunderfire cannon chassis, but with missile racks on it, because the Votann stuff is so much better. And this moves around and shoots on its own. It doesn't need a gunner. It's got move through cover, so it's not slowed down by anything. Maybe give it a flash 5 up and vulnerable save, because it's got some kind of shield as it comes in, and you could load it up with gun turrets, you could load it up with something, and in close combat, you could give it a shock shield, and they could come in units of 3 or 5, and they're just roaming around like these mini, literally half the size of an SUV gun turret thing. That would be cool. Make them 60, 70 points. They had the opportunity to do that because what they're saying from the aesthetics of the Leagues of Votann, as far as I can tell, is, do you like sci-fi? Do you like normal sci-fi? Well, in the world of Warhammer 40k, we've got some options for you. You've got all the creepy chaos. You don't have to worry about that. There's Slaanesh with one booby. You don't want one booby armies. You don't want alien tyrannid armies eating everyone. You don't want space orcs from Lord of the Rings 1 minute. Can I have a look at that one booby army again? Oh, that Keeper of Secrets looks very nice. No, not one booby. I demand 2 boobies in my life. One, if you succeed in, if you love the one booby, then you fall to chaos and you collect Slaanesh. But I love 2 boobies, or 4, or 6, or 8. I mean, like on a cow from many boobies, you get lovely milk, which makes cream and cheese, which are 2 of my favourite things. So, where's the Stay on Target team? What was I talking about? How did I get onto... Yes, so if you want a normal army, if you want to play Gundam, well, here in Warhammer 40k, you can play Gundam. They're called the Tau. If you want to play World War tanks, if you want to play War of Tanks, then here's the Guard. Your Krieg, your First World War, your Stalingrad, that's the Guard. If you want to play normal sci-fi, if you want to play Mass Effect, if you want to play Borderlands, if you want to play... But I'm feeling that Mass Effect vibe in some of the vehicles and the kits that they have, then Leagues of Votann is for you. It's that sci-fi universe that appeals to people who just like sci-fi. But I contest to the court that that is not the way to sell Leagues of Votann, because the people who really like normal sci-fi aren't here. Aren't one of the 175 people watching this. The people who like normal sci-fi, we're the people who like unusual sci-fi. And there's a good 80-90% of you that love normal sci-fi as well. But we go a step beyond the normal sci-fi lovers. Puh, we say to the normal sci-fi lovers, Mass Effect, you think Star Wars, you think your space wizard is deadly? Ha! Let me introduce you to an army of space wizards they call 1,000 Suns. You think your Death Star is powerful? You think that's powerful? Ha! Let me introduce you to this world killer engine from the Necrons, which can eat your Death Star. You know, we go the step beyond. We're not sane people. We're not normal people, okay? We are 40k lovers here. We like everything bigger, harder, faster. We love Amazon. We love pressing the button and it comes straight to us. We like these things. And the normal sci-fi lovers, they like normal sci-fi things. But those of them, I guess it's a gateway drug, isn't it? That's what the Leagues of Votann are to me. Okay, so you asked me the question, what are my thoughts on the Leagues of Votann model? Here are my thoughts. Here are my thoughts on the Leagues of Votann models. They're a gateway drug into Warhammer 40k. They are the Mass Effect version. Just like you have Tau, which is Gundam, and that might pull a few people in with a fishing rod. Then the Leagues of Votann aesthetic is, here's normal sci-fi, here's Mass Effect sci-fi. Hey, come and join us in this world where you might get eaten by demons, where we can exterminate us an entire planet, and the galaxy is ripped in half by hell itself. Clip that, ship that, nailed it in one. That's the Leagues of Votann are a gateway drug. Where are we? Okay, the Votann don't really read a sci-fi tuned up to 11 to me. No, they don't either. Where are we? Did some of those Americans talk back to me? No. BC thinks the Leagues of Votann should wear cow hats and big curly moustaches. That would tone them down even more, wouldn't it? The Necron magic map that can delete stars with a tap is all I can think of now. Sanguinary Guard, you are exactly right. There is a place in a Necron mirror dimension outside of space and time which you can zoom into literally every star in the galaxy, and it's 200 billion light years to side. And I think there's I don't know how many stars is it. Someone will Google it and let us know, but I think it's a billion stars, or maybe it is 200 billion stars. But they can just turn one off, and that's a dead star. That's how powerful the Necron are. But they rarely use this. Obviously, if you take something away, then the galactic ballet of gravity might have horrifying effects. Not in 10,000 years, not even 100,000 years, maybe not even in 1,000,000 years, but it will have a more and more radical, horrifying effect in 10 million years and 50 million years, which doesn't matter to any other race apart from the Necrons. That's the timescale they're thinking of. They're thinking of, will there be biomass left on this planet in 50 million years' time, 100 million years' time, so we can come back again? Well, let's kill the Tyranids and make sure that there is. Viridian Shallows, if you were a Space Marine, what would your melee weapon of choice be? If I was a Space Marine, my melee weapon of... Well, in Space Marine, the game, when you had the rocket pack and the thunder hammer for the first time, that was jolly fun, wasn't it? But if I was a Space Marine, my melee weapon of choice would be my Leviathan Siege Drill. That is my right fist backing up my volcanic melter lance in my left fist as I charge straight through armoured bunkers and melter everyone inside and claw everyone inside, and then charge outside the back of the Rock Creek bunker, preferably into another bunker or through a tank, with my nipple flamers flaming people along the way. Did I mention the t-shirt? Have you guys seen the t-shirt? My wife designed that one. It's on the merchandise thing. It's lovely, isn't it? White. Again, a reminder to everyone. Remind me when I can no longer wear the white thing. Where are we? Sniper Lemming. I don't like the wheels that much. I don't know what you're talking about. BC. The Necrons have no... A mastercrafted power sword, some people are saying. Good choice, sir. Someone else is saying close combat weapon. Siege Claw. He's getting through everything. Have you seen that, baby? Sky, Centurion Assault. A Centurion suit would be cool as well. You know those Centurions? Space Marines have Centurions. So power armored Marine getting inside of power armor, which is the dumbest narrative thing I can ever imagine. Unless, only if, here's the thing, say they put a sprue inside the Centurion box and they drop, imagine this is Centurion, Space Marines and Space Marines is dumb. Games Workshop, someone clip this and ship this to Games Workshop as well. Dumb, Space Marines and Space Marines, Centurion suits don't work. But imagine instead you drop down these little Centurion-like things instead across the battlefield, and you could deep strike them in, clunk, 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 and they would look like little cradle things. One Space Marine from any squad could detach and climb inside, and it would do nanobot, maybe not nanobot because it's 40k, but maybe climb inside this thing on the grid, and then they're off on their own and they're a Centurion suit. They could do it for Primaris. So you've got your Primaris Marine stood there, you've got something that drops down, and maybe they come in units of 3 and you fire them into the battlefield. So the Space Marine sees these Ripley alien suits fired into the battle suit. One of them breaks away from a unit, climbs inside of it, and then you remove one of your Marines off the battlefield. You remove the cradle marker, put down a Centurion suit, and it's a unit of 1, and it's strength 5, toughness 5, 5 wounds, sod it, with a 3-up save, missile rack over its shoulder, flamers and fists go, and it goes in there. And maybe when it blows up or when it dies, if you roll a 6, when it dies, the Marine gets out because he manages to eject safely. That would be cool. Centurion suits. And you'd pay for them, and you'd pay, say, 50 points a suit. Unit of 3, 150 points, you could fire them down. Maybe that's a bit expensive, but then you have one guy who could be treated like a character in a thing, charging forward, stay on target. I love that idea. Evening Winters, evening to you, Jeremy. Jeremy. Like Titanfall. Yes, Christian Nofan. Like Titanfall, but 40k Titanfall. Not a big, because the knights in Titanfall are massive, but into a little Centurion suit. So they get, look, Space Marines drop pods from the sky. Forge World do those turrets, tarantula turrets, yes, from the sky. So you have drop pods that have the missile launchers that come in. You have drop pods that unload that just have the assault cannons in them. You have drop pods that have dreadnoughts in them. Thunderfire cannons used to be able to take drop pods. Marines can take drop pods. Dreadnoughts take drop pods. And then you have the tarantula batteries that are literally deep struck in. And then along with them, you could deep strike in mini mini suits, like a missile, just boom, it lands, and then it cracks open, and it's got the arm, the leg, and they climb into it, and it's a mini mech suit, and it looks like the Centurion model because they've climbed inside a mini mech suit. So all you need to do is sell us another sprue with the drop cradle. So when they get in it, before they get in it, show us a broken down half mate, and he climbs in it, and it can be an action. It gets in it at the end of the movement phase, as long as it doesn't advance. Next turn, bam, in it, up he goes. It's like Hulkbuster, exactly, Sky. Imagine that, but 40k up, 40k up. Imagine if space. We have Centurions right now, Sky. Yes, Hulkbuster, and Centurions exist. They're for firstborn, and let's the notion narratively of Space Marines in Space Marines, Space Marine power armor in Space Marines power armor doesn't make sense. And they look terrible. But imagine if they did it for Primaris Marines, Space Marines in Space Marines, and it does make narrative sense because you literally put one of your Space Marines in it, and it doesn't look terrible because it's Primarisified up. It looks better. The legs aren't so stocky. The chest doesn't have to be so massive to have the guns because you have them coming up over the back. 2 missile racks. Give it like mechanical boosty legs and fists and flamers. In you go. That's an assault single character. Bam. And make it 50 points to fire it in on the battle grid. I like that idea. If they've got Centurions, I can't see why they couldn't do a version of them for Primaris, and I think that idea would be awesome. Therefore, I'm going, yes, that's what I'm going with. Where are we? No hands in the air there at all. You like that one? Does that mean if there's no hands in the air telling me to stay on target? Does that mean A, you're liking the ramble anyway, or B, I'm not even on a target at this point, what you're talking about, Winters? Someone tell me whether it's A or B. A, would you like in that was English. You see, it's difficult. Or was there no target to B? Was there no target to begin with, so you couldn't put your hand in the air? C. Thank you, AAA. C. Wee man, both. Viridian Shadows wants to know what race in 40k would produce the best cheese. Ranting and rambling is your skill. Yes, it's like the Hulkbuster. I'm always angry, so I can always rant. Just ask me a 40k question, which is, come on, chat. This is, what do you want to talk about? That's what tonight's stream is. What do you want to talk about? I'm all ears. I'm here to talk to you. I didn't have much of a topic to begin with. I didn't even set up my timer again because I'm that bad. Hello from Scotland, says Fraser Green. You know, with a late name like Fraser Green, you're in there. That's you're like as Scottish can be. Love it. First time I think you've caught you live. Okay, had a thought going around about what chapter Legion could you see the original Top Gear hosts would be a part of. I'm not, who would... Legion chapter Top Gear hosts. What Legion chapter? Hammond, Clark and May. I feel like Clark would be Imperial Fists. I think Hammond would be White Scars. I feel like May would be... James May would definitely be Thousand Suns. He knows a lot of stuff and he's fallen apart. Have you seen him recently? Bless the man. But he's looking 90. Still doing the mullet though. Are the Eldar the real good guys? Greetings from Iceland. Mike, the Eldar are not the real good guys by a very long shot, because the Eldar are the only species in 40k that murder-fucked a god into existence. A chaos god. So they're not good guys. They are responsible for the death of trillions and trillions. Maybe more trillions than the trillions and trillions that the Imperium are responsible for. Probably not as many deaths as the Necrons have been responsible for. Greetings from the States. Hello. Space elves suck. Do they? Oh yeah, space elves. Yeah, they do. Well, it depends on the type. The craft world stuck up space elves. They suck, don't they? Arrogant bastards. Jeremy, orcs are the good guys. There are no good guys in 40k. There are no wolves in Fenris, and there's orcs are amongst the most innocent, I guess, because they are a forest fire, much like the Necron, not Necrons, much like the Tyranids. They are a biologically created super weapon which is designed to cleanse life from the galaxy. And in doing so, it's also designed that when it's cleansed life from many, many, many areas, it turns in on itself and kills itself. It's a life eater virus that kills itself. That's what the old ones made them to do. In their war against the Necron tier, they love a good fight. Does that make them the good guys? I don't know. Don't really think of weapons as good guys. Space Marines are weapons, so I don't consider them good guys. They're just weapons. That's all. The Guard, they aren't weapons. They have choices. They have, for all their slavery and depravity and short shelf life, they love. They have hopes. Space Marines are just weapons. Why no Iron Hands or Raven Guard Codex yet, asked Sky. I suspect, though I have no idea, but I suspect they're holding them for 10th edition. I suspect we are going to see a change. Otherwise, we'd have seen more codexes come out. There was the Octarius books. You know, we had all the Psychic Awakening shenanigans, and then we had all those extra book shenanigans. Do you remember all of them, those supplements? Have you noticed we haven't seen a supplement for a long time? I think they listened, or the supplements weren't selling, or sales have gone all the way down, or a combination of all three. Sales have dropped off in 40k, they didn't sell the supplements, and they're listening. And we've seen a noticeable lack of supplements, which is a good thing, because all the rules being in the place where the rules should be, which is the rule books, and the codexes should be the way it should be. So, and in the Chaos Space Marine Codex, they've rolled all the Chaos Space Marine factions. It's like 9 codexes, essentially, or 8, or however many is in there. I think it's 8 or 9. It's like 9 separate codexes in there. You can't make your own Chaos Space Marine faction. You are a successor of one of those. And they could have easily done it differently from that. So I suspect that there's going to be a change in the way sub-factions are done. And that's why we haven't seen any Raven Guard, Imperial Fists, Iron Warriors, Iron Hands. No, we have seen Iron Warriors. Those fellas. Raven, White Scars. I mean, maybe they will do the Black Templar treatment to some of them, because the Black Templars have their own special units now. With the Black Templars release, those fellas who aren't Blade Guard, the 25 point guys, what are they called? The Blade Guard unique ones. Are they Blade Guard veterans? They're not Blade Guard veterans. They're Black Legion Veteran Squad, I think they're called. 1 minute, sneeze. Bless me, Father, if I have sinned. I have a twisted septum, I sneeze a lot. Yeah, so maybe the White Scars are going to get that sort of treatment, and they'll have jet skimmers. Because I noticed that the jet skimmers in the Horus Heresy Legion Codex, you can look through the Legion Codex with all the Legion units in it, and it's got a White Scar on a bike, on a 30k bike, and it's a jet bike, and it doesn't look like the jet bike that is available from Forge World, because the nozzle is horizontal rather than vertical. So because of all the plastic releases from the Horus Heresy we've seen, I predict there'll be 30k plastic jet bikes coming out as well. And I can see no reason why they wouldn't release those plastic jet bikes available only to White Scars, or start off making them only available to White Scars, just like they have Black Templar veterans. What are they called? Sword Brethren, thank you. Bless you, thank you. Unleash, thank you, Archie Foster. Exactly. So if they're bringing out White Scars jet bikes for 30k, and clearly the pictures don't line up, then why not bring out... Well, they bring out jet bikes for everyone in 30k. why not allow some of that to spill over and say the White Scars Legion in particular, or even the Raven Guard as well, sell more models, manage to hold on to more stocks of these. Because, I mean, the Raven Guard, well, they were one of the Shattered Legions, right? So their armory, their main supplies back on Deliverance, I imagine, and Deliverance, for as far as I'm aware, Deliverance wasn't directly sacked. It wasn't devastated like some other, so it should still be churning out resupply things for the Raven Guard. I imagine that Corax had a secondary, well, all the legions had secondary, tertiary sources of armor and armaments. Do you think there'll be a lot of new chapter models coming out with Space Marines 2.0, says Biblical Nipple? Yes. House Escher is getting some jet bikes. Yes. Salamander's Flamer bomb unit is much needed. That would be cool. George Gray Garcia wouldn't mind a Salamander character and an Iron Warrior one. Do they do characters for... I think they're doing characters for pretty much everyone, right? I mean, you had Vulcan Hestan. Why not have a new Vulcan Hestan? And Crimson Fist, Pedro Cantor, or even newer people, like you have the Space Wolf fella. Who was the Space Wolf fella? Throwing it out to the chat again with a really big chainsword who does like 10 attacks on the charge, who crossed the Ragnar. Is it Ragnar Blackmane? Him? They did him. Mephiston got plastic, didn't he? Yeah, they're all coming. Hey buddy, us Americans are celebrating Labor Day. Promise me you will crack open a beer and maybe have a cheeseburger or a hot dog in the name of the Emperor. Thank you. I have given up drinking. I've not stopped drinking. I haven't drunk for a month now. And when I went away to the DZTV weekender for both the Saturday and the Sunday, didn't drink at all, despite the bar being free for me because it was my event. Ragnar Blackmane. Thank you, Christian Kopang. Tazanara, any plans on doing an event in mainland Europe? Me do an event out there? No plans. That sounds like a lot of hard work, doesn't it? What happened to your old Sons of Horus Winters? They were traded in. So way back in 7th edition, or right at the start of 8th edition, played a little bit more of the AdMech when 8th rolled around, but 8th was such a success. Everyone was enjoying it. Everyone was playing it. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed playing it. It was so simple at the start. There was a period, I think it was about 18 months in of 8th edition, where everyone had a codex. And on the run-up, while some people had indexes on the run-up to waiting for a codex, it was much more balanced than it is now, let's just say that. And then when everyone had a codex, it was 2 months before Psychic Awakening came out. And in those 18 months, it was the most balanced it had ever been. There'd never been any of these turn-by-turn. Tactical Assault Devastator wasn't there. That was the first, or one of the first. There was none of these turn-by-turn things happening. You had your stratagems. You had your data sheets. It was much simpler, and everyone was playing it. And I stopped playing Heresy. And at the time, at the start of 8th edition, I only had 2 armies as well. I had my 13th and I had the Penitent Forge. That was it at the start of 8th edition. And I played a guy, one of the last games that I played with my Sons of Horus was a guy over, and it was on the channel. And I played my Sons of Horus versus Imperial Fists, and he's a lovely guy, property developer, and he had many of the legions already. Of the 18 legions, he must have had 14 or 15, but he didn't have Sons of Horus. So I traded him Sons of Horus for 3,000. I had 2,000 and something points of Sons of Horus, including the War Master, and I traded that for over 3,000 points of Tyranids, and that was my 3rd army. Because I wanted to get some Xenos factions on the channel, because I had the Penitent Forge of the 13th, all the people I was fighting at that time all had to be non-Imperial, because I was Imperial. So at the start, the Penitent Forge and the 13th also fought, unfortunately, a lot of Imperial armies. And I didn't like doing that. Particularly after the Great Rift ripped open and Guilliman returned. I didn't want to fight Imperial armies all the time. So then I started playing Tyranids against Imperial armies, and since then it was over 3,000 points worth of Tyranids, and now I have about I want to say 6,000 or 7,000 painted. 6,000 is probably, I've doubled it at least. I've more than doubled it. So probably more than, yeah, it's probably 7,000. Okay, I've got a chunk of Tyranids painted. At the same time as that, the Death Guard that came within the box set of 8th edition, I painted all the Space Marines. That was the start of my Primaris. And Rob Not Steve, who you can find on Instagram, Rob Not Steve, who also does commission painting for James from marchofwar.co.uk. My commission painters are denimagination.com, which are the best, greatest painted studio ever. Thank you for painting the Sons of Horus right now, by the way. They're painting the replacement Sons of Horus army. That has gone out to them. But Rob Not Steve, who paints marchofwar.co.uk, he painted my Death Guard. He painted the End of All Things. He painted my Custodies as well. And so within a short period of time, within a year, less than a year, 6 months or so, I went from having just Space Marines and AdMech to having Tyranids and Death Guard. And a good chunk of Tyranids and Death Guard, like over 5,000 points. And I think that made a huge difference to the popularity of my channel as well. I saw a rise because of 8th edition, and I was able to show more diversity in the armies. And now I'm up to like 11. If you can count knights as different, like Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, you know. Ah, dear. James Mayer's a salamander. Okay, Asbo. Just started collecting Death Guard. GW guy was really helpful. So other than get the codex, there was an additional book to get for the rules. He didn't know the name. Do you know the one? Death Guard. Chat. Is there an additional book that you get for Death Guard rules? As far as I'm concerned, the Death Guard are the Death Guard. And their codex doesn't have any other supplementary rules, Asbo. What you do need to do is go to Warhammer Community and download the balanced data slate. If you just Google 40k balanced data slate, then that's 3 pages of faction specific rules. Some of it might cover the Death Guard. Some of it does cover the Death Guard. You'll also need the latest points values. So again, if you go into Warhammer Community and you type Warhammer 40k points values, then you can download that 3D PDF. As someone at Asbo, answer Asbo in the thing. He's got Death Guard. You need the points. Google it. They're free. And you need the data slate, the balanced data slate up thing. Because Death Guard are 2 years old now, and the game is so unbalanced. That Games Workshop need to put so many rules down to balance it. In the old days, in my old time, when I was a young lad, they just used points. There would be a fact to answer some of the questions, but they wouldn't change the rules for anything. They would just put the points up or down because it was a lot more balanced. There was less rules to balance. So if something was clearly broken, they would just put it up by points. Or someone was clearly getting smashed all the time or not selling very much, quite frankly, they'd drop the points on it in between editions. And it was very, 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 very rare that they might change a rule. But they wouldn't change rules. They would clarify rules in the FAQ, in the frequently asked questions. Like out of a tournament, one thing might pop up about drop pod doors. So they'd release a fact to say, we rule it this way. And they'd release a fact to say, oh, we rule it the other way. But you didn't need the fact to play the game. I remember when the facts were coming out all the way through 5th, 6th, 7th. I can't ever remember reading facts that actually applied to me because most of the time the answers to the questions for the facts were clear abuses of the rules. Were clear. You could see, oh, they're fact this, and you'd read about it on the blog because people blogged and vlogged then, and you'd read about it on some of the websites and things that, oh, this popped up and this popped up and we never thought of it that way and we never played that way or we never tried to be cheeky that way. 99 times out of 100 they were clarifications to rules, exploitations that people were trying. So it was points. Maybe 1 or 2 facts ever, clarification ever, actually affected a way I've played a game. True. Hand on Winter's logo. New Winter's logo available from the merchandise store. Look at this, I'm sweating. It's hot in here. The computer's there, that's there, lights are on, it's hot. And I can't open the window, it's raining and I'm hot. Marius Gage, thank you for becoming a new member. You are legend, you are beautiful. Thank you, Marius Gage. How do I know that name, Marius Gage? I know that name. Terminus Est, he mentioned that start collecting looks from watching yourself. The look, I don't know what that is. Wee Man, living data slate helps them and an active Tommy scene that shows them how units are performing and what needs changing. Thanks for the advice. Yes, what I'm saying is a living data slate helps, but if the rules were, they're so fractured right now and there's so many ways because you can scale up and you can push other things down and there's so many interactions that they literally need to change rules. Like here's Armor of Contempt. This is a rule now. If you want to play match, if you're playing open narrative ASBO, if you're just trying it out with your mates, first of all, don't play any of the match play in the main rule book. Okay, play some of those open war games. Use power level instead of points, which has not changed. Power level is still the same. It's not changed. Just play some of those open war games, at least 5 or 10 of them first. And then buy the open war deck to get more open war games. That's how you get into 40k. Don't worry about secondaries, anything like that. And if you do that, actually, you don't have to worry about the balanced data slate because the rules in there are changed, literal changes for match play. Once you start playing it 5, 10, 20 times or whatever with your friends, and you notice that, and you got the rules down, you've got your army down by then, you're having fun. The most important thing is having fun. Make sure you have fun. Make sure your opponent has as much fun as possible. Talk to them before your game, even if it's a friend. Look, I'm trying to have fun with you and beat you, but trying to have fun as well. And you nail that right, then you might begin to see some imbalances, maybe, and then have a look at the balanced data slate. But you do want to see the updated points if you stop using power. So to start off with, just go with power and have fun. What is open play? Lol, it's barely defined. Brian of Funord, that's a very good question. I use the open war decks. Wait one, people. Get this, it's less than a tenner. And it's actually got like a 3-page leaflet with the rules and how to play it. You can play using points or power. If you're new to the game, just use power. If you're playing a casual quick game, just use power. And you get a 6 CP at 1,000 points, 12 CP at 2,000 points, above 2,000 points, 18 CP. And play these. And pick yourself a deployment map. Pick yourself a twist. So this one has indiscriminate projectiles. On a 6, you can do mortal wounds back to each other. And then pick yourself an objective. And this one's objective drop. And there's an objective in the middle of the table and you fight over that. And who has the objective at the end wins, and the objective drop can move around. That's open play. You can play it with power, and you don't need the balanced data slate because it's not match play. It's supposed to be a fun pickup game. That's what open war is. If you want to play a better version of match play, don't play the match play in the main rulebook, or play Warzone Nephilim or Warzone whatever thing we're at right now. Instead, get the Tempest of War deck. And the Tempest of War deck, 6 CP, 12 CP, 18 CP, depending on 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 points, and you get the Tempest of War deck. And it has the same sort of rundown as this, but it's matched play. So you would use the balanced data slate in it. And it has, this has primary objectives. Hold this objective, hold these objectives, kill more, hold more. Has some primary objectives in. The Tempest of War deck has primaries and secondaries in it. And match play, tournament play, the one in the main rule book and the one for Nephilim and has only primaries and secondaries in it, and it's really tweaked and really tuned, and you've got to build your army around scoring those primaries and secondaries. Tempest of War, you can't build your army around scoring those primaries and secondaries because you don't know what the secondaries are. They will come out of a 20 card deck as you play the game. So you build your list around trying to just score, hold on to some primaries, but your list also needs to be mobile enough or have options enough for you to do some of the things that will come out with a secondary deck, which might say take an objective in your opponent's deployment zone, or get behind their lines, or just kill a load of things, or hold on to an objective. And those will be the secondaries that come up. So that's open play. And then you've got Tempest of War, which is casual open match play, a more casual way of playing match play, because you don't have to design your list around the match play. And then you have competitive play, match play from the main rulebook, and the 6 monthly updates. Then you really want to design a list around scoring as many points as you can, and you're in much more control of how you go about scoring the points that you want to score. And and if people are asking questions like what is open play, it just goes to show Games Workshop aren't differentiating it enough themselves, right? Why is there not an article? Why is there not a Warcom? Why is there not something from Games Workshop talking about 3 ways to play? Here's 3 ways you can play right here. Or the 4th way, obviously narrative. And for them, Crusade is narrative. And for us, of course, Crusade isn't narrative. Narrative is narrative, and Crusade is a part of narrative. It's not like Crusade, all of narrative fits in Crusade. That's not the way it works. It is Crusade is a small part of narrative, because we make up our own narratives all the time, don't we? And Crusade is another way of playing narrative gaming if you want to rank up your guys, but it's a terrible, convoluted, complex system on top of an already complex and fractured system. And what narrative needs to be instead is a mission pack for the Prior Nexus, for Worse and Nephilim, for the Fall of the Cadian Gate, for the 13th Black Crusade, for the devastation of Baal, for the First Tyrannic War, for those things. It needs to be a narrative pack with missions and worlds and stratagems for playing on those missions on those worlds, and really cool high concept artwork, and a global map, a system map, something that collectors will want to get as well, because boom, Devastation of Baal Crusade, and you buy it, and half of the book is as beautiful as the Forge World books that you see, absolutely glorious photos and artistry in there, and half of the book is all about the Baal system, with the artwork, with the planets, with this the different, how the High Fleet made its way in, with 10 different missions and how to play them, or maybe 6 missions from the Blood Angel side, 6 missions from the Flesh Terror side, 6 missions from the Tyrannid side, 6 missions from any other forces side, maybe the Guard side because they were further out in the Baal system, the Guard going up against the first waves of the Tyrannids. Were there any other Space Marines involved in the encirclement process at the end, with rules and missions, and that's what you do. And then collectors will collect it because, oh my god, it's the first, oh my Emperor, it's a glorious tome about the Baal system. It's the glorious tome about the first Tyrannic War and the slaughter of the Ultramarines' entire First Legion at the Polar Fortress on Macragge. They all got wiped out. The First Legion, down to a man, every suit of Terminator armor as they held that Polar Fortress down, with the missions in it. All the collectors would get that. And then narrative bunny, so long as the narrative is very simple with mission and upgrades, very simple upgrades. So complete 1 mission, you can do this. Complete 2 missions, you can do this. Complete 3 missions, you can do this. With no, it's not a competition, it's not narrative. This is another thing that they screwed up with Crusade. It's, you play Crusade really well, you can outpoint your opponent and start pushing them and hammering them a bit more with Crusade. That's not what people play narrative for. It isn't to beat you, if I'm playing a narrative with you, say the first Tyrannic War, and I'm playing Tyranids and you're playing Ultramarines, I don't care if you win 10 times over. And my Tyranid 4, I want to know the stories. I want to know did Calgar stand in the breach as they came charging towards? I want to know those moments in the first Tyrannic War. I want to know when the Flesh Tearers were sent away on Baal because they didn't want to upset the rest of the Blood Angels because the Flesh Tearers going absolutely nuts. And you had Khorne actually erupted. Khorne demons cleansed one entire world or moon in the Baal system of Tyranids. You know, blood for the blood god and all that. There was so much blood being spilt in the Baal system that this whole moon or planet was wiped out. Chat, tell me if it was a moon or planet in the Baal system by Tyranids, completely overrun. And then Khorne appeared, and when the Space Marines got there after the war, after the devastation of Baal, they came down to that planet and they found the planet completely devoured of life, except for a mountain of skulls and mountain of Tyranid skulls with a Khorne banner on top. That was it. That was the only bit of life left on that planet. I'm doing these campaigns. I don't care if my Tyranid skulls pile into that throne. I want my Tyranid skulls piled into that throne. Crusade isn't about beating you. Crusade should be about playing a campaign together. So after mission 1, we both get a point and we can spend it on this. After mission 2, we both get a point and we can spend it on this. After mission 3, and you tell your opponent, and you get to pick. It doesn't have to have none of this dice rolling. You get to pick. Mission 1, I would say there's 3 things you could do. And it has to be something that you can easily remember, right? So not something that this unit has, and then this unit has, and then this unit has. So at the end of mission 1, you do mission 1 together. You can, in mission 2, here's an idea. You can play as many stratagems as you want. Both of you. Why not? So like you're bringing full force in mission 2, no CP, and even if we adopted my idea of 6 stratagems in the main rule book and 3 in the codexes or 2, and that was all the stratagems there were. Say the rule said instead if there was only 10 stratagems available or 5 stratagems available, say the rule said you can play 2 stratagems a turn, every single turn. You can just do that in mission 2, and both of you can do that. Turn it up. Mission 3 might be, you don't even have to have upgrades. Mission 3 could be everyone's in this mission, enemy and friend and foe all get +1 toughness. Everyone's a little bit tougher. This is a veteran mission. These are the hard-born survivors 1 week into the war. The armor's tougher. The people wearing it are tougher. The Tyranids have toughened up. Everyone is tougher, both Imperium and Tyranid. Do stuff like that. People would love those campaigns. I would play those campaigns, and if there was a library of 100 of those campaigns, the First Tyrannic War, the Cadian Gate trilogy, the Fall of Cadia trilogy, that sort of stuff, then people would, just like the Black Library novels, and we all say, have you read the Night Lords trilogy yet? Have you read the Eisenhorn trilogy yet? Have you, what about Caphas Cain? Have you done any of that yet? Just like we have these conversations of Black Library series, Gaunt's Ghosts, we'd have conversations about the Crusade series. Have you seen the Fall of Cadia yet? That trilogy is the best one yet. It's got the best artwork, the best stuff, the best things. Play the Fall of Cadia trilogy. It's absolutely awesome. Have you played the Indomitus War yet? It's just epic. You have to play the Indomitus War. It's this and this. Yeah. Sam Nash gifting 5 more memberships. Thank you, Sam. Can we have a big round of applause in the chat for Sam? Thank you. I went off on a bit of a ramble then. So Inquisitive X, how cool would that be? A library of all the campaigns with all the mission SRs. Yeah, so the missions are campaign specific, and the mission special rules are just a couple, literally just a couple in there. But you can have 500 point missions, which is a Bastion, versus 1,000 points of Tyranids. You can have 500 point missions, 1,000 point missions, 2,000 point missions. No match play missions. No, there might be one mission in it that has primaries and secondaries, but none of that. Just fun pickup games that you can play with only 1 or 2 special rules or 3 special rules. This special rule might be 0G, 0 gravity. Everyone can advance and charge, and everyone moves +2. And it's a weird deployment. And here are your objectives. And the stories in there, and the pictures in there, and the artwork in there, and the knowledge in there, in the Devastation of Baal trilogy. It's just something collectors would just snap up. That's how you do Crusade. Hands up. Am I? Yes. Round of applause for Sam. Round of applause for Sam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're all out there. Good. So you guys know how to click on the thing to make sure. Thank you again, Sam. I appreciate you. Every Black Library book should come with the rules to play out the story. Maybe not every one, but definitely some Black Library series should come. Why isn't there a Sabbath Worlds Crusade? They're called the Crusade system. The Sabbath Worlds Crusade 1, 2, or 3. Do that. Let's have a Sabbath Worlds Crusade proper map. And there's some missions in there which have got the Blood Pact and have got Gaunt's Ghosts. And the mission could be you're a Space Marine thing on this flank. On the other heart side of the city, the Gaunt's Ghosts are doing this mad push with this thing and da-da-da. You're holding this flank and they cannot fall. You cannot fall, otherwise it will get through to Gaunt and his men. And then the siege of such and such wouldn't happen. You could directly tie it in. We know Space Marines were in the Sabbath Worlds. Yeah. So, okay, maps to visualize too. I'd love that for my own warriors. Yeah. So I've rambled on quite a bit. What did you want to talk about? I've answered questions and things. Unless people have more questions to ask. So yeah, the t-shirt is pimp that is sweaty now. Pimp that shizzle, yo drizzle. Become a channel member for access to loads of videos in my private community, my private place. Join the deployment zone to join the wider community and get videos that way. Get videos from being a member as well. And in the deployment zone, there's loads of events and things. Next one is the 8th of October, people. So there's 2 events coming up for deployment zone and channel members. One is in January, sold out already, sold out in a week. And one is in October the 8th at Firestorm Games in Cardiff. And I think there's only about 30 tickets left. So there's about 70 people going so far. 100 is the capacity. I'm going to be there along with a number of the original SEOs. A number of the people that you might see in battle reports are there. So Stylus, Monkey, Sultan, Brap. There's a chunk of people coming. I don't know if Brap's going. But at Firestorm Games in Cardiff on the 8th, there's still some tickets if you want to come meet me and potentially play a game against me because I'm one of the prizes in a raffle. Then you need to become a channel member and unlock my Discord, which is tier 2 at least. Tier 2 at least. And then that'll give you the links to Firestorm or become a deployment zone member. And then you'll get the Discord access with the first video, the unlock to the first video that gets sent to you. And then, so Discord member in DZTV or a tier 2 channel thing, minimum. And grab yourself a ticket and come along. And I'll see you on Saturday, the 8th of October. Lots of giveaways and things. It's going to be very excited. I'm excited. Monkey's in the chat. Monkey's running this one. And Monkey is the person I'm doing the Bell Tolls campaign, which you can watch. Become a channel member. Join the deployment zone. Pimp your shit, yo. I think I've pimped enough. Have I pimped enough? And it's not a tournament, by the way. The Southwest Showdown. It is 2 1,500 point games of fun. There's going to be a raffle. There isn't a winner for winning both games, or there isn't anything for winning or losing both games. You're coming along to play 2 fun custom games, take part in a raffle, and come take a selfie with me. And there's the 100-player one at King of the North in January, sold out, and that's at Element Games. So there's one every 3 or so months. So Monkey isn't a prize. No, Monkey's running that. I'm a prize. Inquisitive X says you can never pimp enough, yo. I think you can. Wild West, not Southwest, or even a showdown. So it's the Wild West Showdown. Come along. Christian Kapang, how would you have a 40k end times go down if you were in charge, Winters? How would you have a 40k end times go? I wouldn't have a 40k end times go down. That wouldn't happen. I would accelerate the pace of change in the narrative, I think everyone's due upgraded armies, and I think in upgrading everyone's armies, we can see the new Angron, we can see the new Lion. Hopefully Khan or Vulcan comes back, because we're certainly going to see a Lorgar come back, accelerate that change of Chaos and Imperium. So in a couple of years' time, there's definitely a North Imperium and a South Imperium. They've got Empire builders up there and Imperium Nihilus. So Imperium Sanctus versus Imperium Nihilus, make it more like that. Of course, pimp up the other factions as well. You've got the Octavis sector, the Tyranids spilling out of that can be beefer, and the Orcs spilling out of that can be beefer. You can beef Primarch everything up. And that's a life cycle of about 10 years, continuing to hint about the Yellow King, or the return of Constantine Valdor, or even Dawn. And then ultimately you can have the Second Crusade and have the Emperor wake up. You can have Horus come back, and you can have even greater threats. New Tyranid threats emerge. New Chaos demons emerge. Bigger kits, nastier kits. Really showcasing what 40k can look like in the modeling form. Because 3D printers can't keep up with that. And people want to own the OG thing. I've got a 3D printed, my version of the Nightbringer called the Plague Bringer or the Death Bringer or something, which much of War made for me. And it's epic, but I'll still get the Nightbringer when it comes because I want to own the OG Nightbringer model. I'm getting custom shoulder pads done for my Sons of Horus army when they come back. But I'm getting them as well as all the Sons of Horus stuff, as well as the Death Guard stuff, as well as the Emperor's Children stuff, as well as the World Eater stuff. And if I could get them from Games Workshop, I wouldn't get them from a third party. If I could get the things that I wanted, more custom stuff. I did turn up 140 pounds of backpacks, chess pieces, Emperor's Children chess pieces. This is just the chess pieces for the Emperor's Children, 50 of them, 140 quid, because I could get them from Games Workshop, those made to order things, because the Emperor's Children have to have the Aquila. They were the only legion that was allowed to wear the Aquila on their breastplate. So 140 quid, and I still haven't got the armor variants that I want to swap these out for. I want armor variant 2, 3 and 4 because it's heresy, pre-heresy stuff. It's not, well, heresy is Mark 5 and 6. 6 was in prototype pre-production amongst Raven Guard, Alpha Legion, and of course Sons of Horus, because they had access to all the kit at the start of the heresy. But most heresy armies had version 2, 3 or 4. And I can't buy 2, 3 or 4. So if it was available where I could click it on the Games Workshop thing, I would get it from the Games Workshop thing. But there's some things that I want to get which they don't sell me. And I want to get them. I heard the Emperor's Children and 30k and thought someone robbed a bank. I know, 140 quid for 50 breastplates. And no arms or legs yet. 40k needs killer space rabbits. Yes, it does. I would get that army. So thanks for dropping in and having a conversation with me this evening. I normally try and keep it at an hour. I think we're about an hour and 13. Thank you to everyone for all the likes. And 77 likes. Is that good? Like it some more, please. Could you? Please. Apparently this helps. 78 likes. Thank you. See, that was easy. Christian Capong. Thank you for your heart, your love. 78 likes. Come on, over 80. Good, that's good. So yes, so I think we had a good conversation here. I'm sweating my balls off. Thank you for talking with me and listening to some of this madness. Thank you for the viewers. Thank you for your love and support. Consider getting some merch, becoming a channel member, because it helps feed the beast and keeps me out of the factory. And you're supposed to say these sorts of things. It's definitely like begging, isn't it? It makes me very uncomfortable. I'm going to go. Ball Soup, Brat's favourite. Yes, it is. He loves a... No, don't use the mouse. I'll press this thing over here instead. That's what I do. Have a great evening. Billy Bob. Is it Billington Bob? Is that Billington Boob? 2 boobs, not 1 boob. Take care, Winters. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Inquisitive Vex, for doing some, and Sanguinary Guard for doing some legendary modding this evening, and Monkey for being in his house, and everyone else. Hope you have a lovely thing. The next thing to come up from me is part 5. The last and final part of the Bell Tolls will come out on Thursday, I hope. And I'm filming the STD. Me and Warsmith Chris are getting STD tomorrow, so that's happening tomorrow. I think Chris has already got STD, and he's giving it to me. SD, the Story of Time podcast, that one. See you next time. Have good fun. Have a great press the button. Happy wargaming. Am I back? Hopefully I'm still back, because Quipster jumped into the trap chat and said, what companies of Emperor's Children are you going to have? Because he's called the 217th and the 220th, which are 2 good choices right there. The 217th and 220th companies of the Emperor's Children. Because I know, Quipster, that you want to do Loyalist Emperor's Children. Well, I'm going to do Loyalist Emperor's Children as well, but I've got a different take from you. My Loyalist Emperor's Children are going to be Emperor's Children from Istvan 3. That's it. So I'm going to have mixed companies, mixed symbols in there. Because Istvan 3 went on for 2-3 months, right? The first act of betrayal that Horus did was against his own legions, fratricide. He, and of the Emperor's Children, about 30 to 40% of them would have stayed loyal, like Sol Tarvitz and Solomon Demeter. And they were killed at Istvan 3 before the drop site massacre of Istvan 5. So my Emperor's Children are survivors from Istvan 3. So I'm going to do mixed companies, mixed colours. That's what I want to mix in the second Mark 2, 3 and 4 armour. I want a lot of white on there to show that there's some Terran ancestries. I'm even willing to put 2 or 3 models of Horus Heresy pattern armor, Mark 5 armor, which there was no one official type of. Horus Heresy armor, pattern 5 armor, was inserted after the fact to name all the patchwork armors that sprung up during the Horus Heresy and the more studded armors that which are fragmentation protection during the Horus Heresy. So you tend to get a lot more studded of those bally type armors during the Horus Heresy, but there were some Mark 5s that never got off, or only a few runs got off from a few different Forge worlds. But it's basically a retrospective armor pattern. So even a couple of them in there, because I figure in Istvan 3, some of them, they would have been the early adopters of Horus Heresy pattern Mark 5 armor. But mainly it would have been for the Death Guard Mark 3, and for the Sons of, where are we? For the Lunar Wolves and for the Emperor's Children, it would be 2 and 4 mainly. And, sorry, 2 and 3 mainly. And for the Sons of Horus, it would be 4 and a bit of 6, because the Sons of Horus had all the best kit. Okay? So, that's the companies I'm going for. Are we cutting off? Cult of... So I think we're going away now. So Istvan 3 survivors. That's us. And I need to talk to you, Quipster, about the thing for the thing. Love you all. Take care. I think it's already stopped. I might have already stopped. I don't know. Bye again. No, I haven't. You're actually watching this. Take care, everyone. Happy wargaming.